China, country of East Asia, it is the largest of all Asian countries, occupying nearly the entire East Asian landmass. It covers approximately 1/14 of the land area of Earth, and it is almost as large as the whole of Europe. China is also one of the most populous countries in the world, rivaled only by India, which, according to United Nations estimates, surpassed it in population in 2023.
China has 33 administrative units directly under the central government. These consist of 22 provinces, 5 autonomous regions, 4 municipalities Chongqing, Beijing, Shanghai, and Tianjin, and 2 special administrative regions Hong Kong and Macau. Beijing, Peking, the capital of the People's Republic, is also the cultural, economic, and communication center of the country. Shanghai is the main industrial city. Hong Kong is the leading commercial center and port.
Population of China is 1,408,671,000. Within China's boundaries exists a highly diverse and complex country. Its topography encompasses the highest and one of the lowest places on Earth, and its relief varies from nearly impenetrable mountainous terrain to vast coastal lowlands. Its climate ranges from extremely dry, desert-like conditions in the northwest to tropical monsoon in the southeast, and China has the greatest contrast in temperature between its northern and southern borders of any country in the world. The diversity of both China's relief and its climate has resulted in one of the world's widest arrays of ecological niches, and these niches have been filled by a vast number of plant and animal species. Indeed, practically all types of northern hemisphere plants, except those of the polar tundra, are found in China, and despite the continuous inroads of humans over the millennia, China still is home to some of the world's most exotic animals. Probably the single most identifiable characteristic of China to the people of the rest of the world is the size of its population. Some 1/5 of humanity is of Chinese nationality. The great majority of the population is Han Chinese, and thus China is often characterized as an ethnically homogeneous country, but few countries have as many diverse indigenous peoples as does China. Even among the Han, there are cultural and linguistic differences between regions. For example, the only point of linguistic commonality between two individuals from different parts of China may be the written Chinese language. Because China's population is so enormous, the population density of the country is also often thought to be uniformly high, but vast areas of China are either uninhabited or sparsely populated. With more than 4,000 years of recorded history, China is one of the few existing countries that also flourished economically and culturally in the earliest stages of world civilization. Indeed, despite the political and social upheavals that frequently have ravaged the country, China is unique among nations in its longevity and resilience as a discrete political-cultural unit. Much of China's cultural development has been accomplished with relatively little outside influence, the introduction of Buddhism from India constituting a major exception. Even when the country was penetrated by such foreign powers as the Manchu, these groups soon became largely absorbed into the fabric of Han Chinese culture.
This relative isolation from the outside world made possible over the centuries the flowering and refinement of the Chinese culture, but it also left China ill-prepared to cope with that whirlwind. From the mid-19th century, it was confronted by technologically superior foreign nations. There followed a century of decline and decrepitude, as China found itself relatively helpless in the face of a foreign onslaught. The trauma of this external challenge became the catalyst for a revolution that began in the early 20th century against the old regime and culminated in the establishment of a communist government in 1949. This event reshaped global political geography, and China has since come to rank among the most influential countries in the world. Central to China's long-enduring identity as a unitary country is the province, or Shang Secretariat. The provinces are traceable in their current form to the Tang Dynasty 618 to 907. Over the centuries, provinces gained in importance as centers of political and economic authority and increasingly became the focus of regional identification and loyalty. Provincial power reached its peak in the first 2 decades of the 20th century, but since the establishment of the People's Republic, that power has been curtailed by a strong central leadership in Beijing. Nonetheless, while the Chinese state has remained unitary in form, the vast size and population of China's provinces, which are comparable to large and mid-sized nations, dictate their continuing importing as a level of subnational administration.
China stretches for about 3,250 miles, 5,250 kilometers from east to west, and 3,400 miles, 5,500 kilometers. Its land frontier is about 12,400 miles, 20,000 kilometers in length, and its coastline extends for some 8,700 miles, 14. The country is bounded by Mongolia to the north, Russia and North Korea to the northeast, the Yellow Sea and the East China Sea to the east, the South China Sea to the southeast, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar, Burma, India, Bhutan, and Nepal to the south, Pakistan to the southwest, and Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Kazakhstan to the west. In addition to the 14 countries that border directly on it, China also faces South Korea and Japan, across the Yellow Sea, and the Philippines, which lie beyond the South China Sea. Broadly speaking, the relief of China is high in the west and low in the east. Consequently, the direction of flow of the major rivers is generally eastward. The surface may be divided into 3 steppes, or levels. The first level is represented by the Plateau of Tibet, which is located in both the Tibet Autonomous Region and the province of Qinghai, in which, with an average elevation of well over 13,000 feet 4,000 meters above sea level, is the loftiest highland area in the world. The western part of this region, the Qiantang, has an average height of 16,500 feet 5,000 meters and is known as the roof of the world.
The second steppe lies to the north of the Kunlun and Kilian Mountains and farther south to the east of the Chiangmai and Daliang Ranges. There the mountains descend sharply to heights of between 6,000 and 3,000 feet 1,800 and 900 meters, after which basins intermingle with plateaus. This steppe includes the Mongolian Plateau, the Tarim Basin, the Loess Plateau. Loess is a yellow-gray dust deposited by the wind, the Sichuan Basin, and the Yunnan-Gui-Zhou-Yongui Plateau. The third steppe extends from the east of the Delo, Taihang, and Wu Mountain Ranges and from the eastern perimeter of the Yunnan-Guizhou Plateau to the China Sea. Almost all of this area is made up of hills and plains lying below 1,500 feet for hundreds. The most remarkable feature of China's relief is the vast extent of its mountain chains. The mountains, indeed, have exerted a tremendous influence on the country's political, economic, and cultural development. By rough estimate, about 1/3 of the total area of China consists of mountains. China has the world's tallest mountain and the world's highest and largest plateau, in addition to possessing extensive coastal plains. The 5 major landforms mountain, plateau, hill, plain, and basin are all well represented. China's complex natural environment and rich natural resources are closely connected with the varied nature of its relief. The topography of China is marked by many splendors. Mount Everest Komalong Mafung, situated on the border between China and Nepal, is the highest peak in the world at an elevation of 29,035 feet 8,850 meters. See researchers note, height of Mount Everest. By contrast, the lowest part of the Turfan Depression in the Uyghur Autonomous Region of Xinjiang Lake Aiding is 508 feet 155 meters below sea level. The coast of China contrasts greatly between south and north. To the south of the Bay of Hangzhou, the coast is rocky and indented with many harbors and offshore islands. To the north, except along the Shandong and Liaodong peninsulas, the coast is sandy and flat. China is prone to intense seismic activity throughout much of the country. The main source of this geologic instability is the result of the constant northward movement of the Indian tectonic plate beneath southern Asia, which has thrust up the towering mountains and high plateaus of the Chinese southwest. Throughout its history, China has experienced hundreds of massive earthquakes that collectively have killed millions of people. two in the 20th century alone in eastern Gansu Province 1920 and in the city of Tangshan, eastern Hebei Province 1976, caused some 250,000 deaths each. And a quake in east-central Sichuan Province in 2008 killed tens of thousands and devastated a wide area. China's physical relief has dictated its development in many respects. The civilization of Han Chinese originated in the southern part of the Loess Plateau, and from there it extended outward until it encountered the combined barriers of relief and climate. The long, protruding corridor, commonly known as the Gansu or Hexi corridor, illustrates this fact. South of the corridor is the plateau of Tibet, which was too high and too cold for the Chinese to gain a foothold. North of the corridor is the Gobi Desert, which also formed a barrier. Consequently, Chinese civilization was forced to spread along the corridor, where melting snow and ice in the Kilian Mountains provided water for oasis farming. The westward extremities of the corridor became the meeting place of the ancient East and West. Thus, for a long time the ancient political center of China was located along the lower reaches of the Huanghe Yellow River. Because of topographical barriers, however, it was difficult for the central government to gain complete control over the entire country, except when an unusually strong dynasty was in power. In many instances, the Sichuan Basin, an isolated region in southwestern China, about twice the size of Scotland, that is well protected by high mountains and is self-sufficient in agricultural products, became an independent kingdom. A comparable situation often arose in the Tarim Basin in the northwest. Linked to the rest of China only by the Gansu corridor, this basin is even remoter than the Sichuan, and when the central government was unable to exert its influence, oasis states were established. Only the three strong dynasties, the Han to 106 BC to 120 C, the Tang 618907 C, and the Qing or Manchu 1644 to 1911 12ths were capable of controlling the region. Apart from the three elevation zones already mentioned, it is possible on the basis of geologic structure, climatic conditions, and differences in geomorphologic development to divide China into three major topographic regions: the eastern, northwestern, and southwestern zones. The eastern zone is shaped by the rivers, which have eroded landforms in some parts and have deposited alluvial plains in others. Its climate is monsoonal, characterized by seasonal rain-bearing winds. The northwestern region is arid and eroded by the wind. It forms an inland drainage basin. The southwest is a cold, lofty, and mountainous region containing intermontane plateaus and inland lakes.